Welcome to a special episode of Potter's Pod on the pre-season tour of the south of Spain. On this episode, Lewis Baker. Lewis, first appearance on the podcast. Thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
What I want to talk to you about in this special pre-season episode, it must feel like they come around quicker and quicker every single year, but the bit between, talk me through finishing on the final day after you've done all your things at the end of the season to coming back. What is that time like?
I think it's a bit different for everyone. You know, I think how we finished the season last year, we got the job done. Obviously, I think there's a bit of happiness, a bit of joy about that, but then the realization of, you know, it needs to be better. So, you know, that kind of time in between, like you said, finishing the season and coming back, it's obviously a lot of thinking time, and then obviously gets to a point where, you know, you want to be back in and working and get ready for the new season.
What do you do though? Like, because, you know, obviously I imagine you take a break and all that kind of stuff, but if you are a professional athlete who's at peak physical fitness every single day of the year, how do you switch off? How do you rest?
I think it's important, you know, you need time to switch off mentally and physically, you know, throughout a championship season. It's a long old season, you know, give your body time to recover from the bumps and bruises and mentally just reset to go again, because it takes so much throughout a 46 game season to stay focused and take each game as it comes.
Come on, give it me a bit though. From a point of view of your alarm goes off usually going off at 8 o'clock in the morning, yeah, and you training every day, to not have to do that must be the weirdest feeling.
Yeah, because I think as well for lads, we've had a lot of structure from a young age. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, like,
well, you've been at like Premier League level club for a long time. It's not like you've just come through from the dog and duck. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so obviously a lot of structure. But no, you enjoy those times and that when the alarm don't go off. Do you know what I mean? You can just wake up and that when you want to wake up. But yeah, no, it's a bit of both. You know what I mean? You want to, you know, relax, recharge, and just try to take your mind off football for a little while.
When you take your mind off football, is the lads' WhatsApp group still going? Are you one of these people that goes, right, I love you all, but I just don't want to see you for a little bit of time, or are you still chatting to people?
I think the first few weeks, there's a little bit where the group chat or whatever, no one's putting in anything. You know what I mean? We see each other more than families and whatever. So, you know, everyone might be a little bit sick of each other, but then at the same time, as the summer kind of keeps going, it starts to build up and that again. Do you know what I mean? I think the boys kind of get excited to see each other and get to work.
Have you ever muted that group chat?
Yeah, I think it's muted now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So sometimes I have to just double check it in that sometimes. You know what I mean?
So if you ever miss anything, that's why.
Yeah.
That's probably it. So, right, you've had your summer, and then you think, right, the date is when I'm coming back is this date in June. I'm excited for going back. How do you kind of build yourself up to get to that point? Do you start training yourself? Do you work with someone? How does it work?
Yeah, so obviously I think like most lads, like nowadays anyway, start building up themselves before they get back to pre-season. You know, the club will kind of give us guidelines on, you know, different sessions that we can do to be able to build the fitness. So when we come back day one, we're ready to hit the ground running all together. We're not behind on anything. But yeah, train with personal trainers and whatever. You need to just be ready to just come back to hit the ground running. Do you know what I mean? Never going to be fully fit coming back, but it's just a baseline. So you're available for each session that comes.
Can I ask a potentially geeky question, which I imagine when you were growing up and you were a kid, you'd been all over this. You know, when you see the first picture of the training kit, how concerned are you? When that message comes through and says, this is a training kit, yeah, how concerned are you about it? Because you've got to wear that every day, haven't you?
Yeah, no, you got to wear it every day, but I think there's always a little bit like, if you get like new boots, it's like a new kit. There's a bit like nostalgia about it, whereas, you know, every year a new boot or a new kit comes out and that, you want to know what it looks like. And,
it's not the training kit this time round. It's not for people that are listening, not watching. You're wearing it now when we're talking. It's nice this time.
Yeah, no, I'm having it, to be fair. Yeah, no, the designs and stuff and that in the kits this season have been really good.
Do you still get excited about kit releases?
Not so much about kit releases.
Really?
Yeah, not so much about kit releases. I don't know about kit releases. I think like, I'm easy, to be fair. You know what I mean? Just put whatever and just go get the job done.
I thought you'd be like a kit aficionado. I don't know why. I just assumed that you'd be properly into it.
No, not really. To be fair, no.
Not for you.
I'm not really not the most stylish person.
Okay.
You know
do,
what I mean?
do you keep any of your old ones or?
Yeah, for sure. You know, as seasons go by and that, you want to just like my own shirts and that, or from moments and that in matches or games and those type of things to look back on when we finish.
I obviously spend a lot of my free time watching the Stoke City YouTube channel because it is obviously, as you will know, the place to get all your content for Stoke City, isn't it? Just nod, say yes. And I was watching the before we got to where we are now, which is in Spain. There was a good couple of edits, a couple of videos, if you like, all about getting back up to speed. I don't want to mispronounce this, but am I right in thinking that is it the trap bar challenge?
Yeah.
Am I right in thinking you did quite well on that?
Yeah, there's always competition when it's testing. Like no matter what test it is, whether it's running, whether it's hitting the crossbar in the gym, the lads with the group we're a very competitive group. You know what I mean? And you know, everyone wants to try better their best or better someone else's score. But that's just how it is, I think.
Did I give away that I don't spend much time in the gym when I was like, trap bar challenge?
Yeah.
I think there's something called a trap bar, I'm not so sure. From watching those videos, I'm just going to guess, and having spoken to him, get the feeling Junior might be a little bit competitive.
Yeah, he's definitely got...
He's got an edge to him, I could tell.
Yeah. Especially when it was the testing days and that as well. He wanted to keep seeing his name up on the screen.
He really did, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. But I think throughout some of the tests, I think some of the boys showed him the kind of level he needs to be at.
And also, for someone like yourself who's got that little bit more experience, that's been to a few more different clubs, it must be nice for you to just go, Junior, as much as I love you and you're a fantastic person and a player, just sit back down there, let me just have a go at this one. I've got this sorted.
Yeah, no, he's a fantastic character and that to have around the building and stuff, you know what I mean? He's always got a smile on his face, and it's just even them little bits and that, like, he's having banter and that, but he wants to win, do you know what I mean? Like, he's that type of player, and, you know, the more we can do that for our day-to-day stuff, and, you know what I mean, it just builds togetherness.
Yeah. I get the feeling with him, he's one of those people where you can tell in his eyes that he's really competitive. Like, most people be able to hide it, but with him, when you saw him on those videos, which you could still watch on the YouTube channel, you could see in his eyes he weren't mucking about, he wanted to win.
Yeah, he definitely wanted to win. Yeah, he definitely wanted to win. But, yeah, he come up short on some of them.
We'll just leave it at that, just in case he's listening. So we've come out to Spain for the pre-season. For you, how important is coming out to somewhere like this and being around the lads? Because we were talking to Mark Robbins about it. 7 days with a group of people is quite a long time, isn't it, to be fair, right in everyone's pockets.
Yeah, and I feel obviously it brings us togetherness, you know, a change of scenery is always good. As well, like the new signings coming in early helps them adapt, you know, to how we want to do things, what we want to do going forward, you know, getting to know them as people, and, you know, the new signings getting to know the whole group and staff, and just helps the settle in period, you know, quicker in that for those. But yeah, the more the togetherness, and, you know, when we come out to places like that, the sessions are going to be intense, you know, they're going to be hard, and yeah, it's just all of us pushing each other in the right direction.
You've played for a few different clubs, so you must have been on a few different pre-seasons, so you've obviously had the luxury of seeing all the different places. For you, how does it change from club to club, and how does Stoke to compare to that, I suppose?
I think everywhere is different, you know, everywhere is different, you know, played in different countries and that as well, so they have different cultures and the way they look at training for pre-seasons, and how intense they want to do things. Yeah, everywhere's just different, so I've just tried to take all them experiences, you know, along the way, and just try and find, you know, the best recipe for myself as well, you know, to be prepared for game one.
I listen to a lot of football podcasts, and a lot of ex-pros that have recently retired tell stories about crazy pre-season trips. I don't know how to say this. Do you feel like you've missed out on some of those crazy pre-season trips playing now when it's a bit more serious?
Yeah, we probably, that's probably a little bit, you know, before our time, I'll say, you know what I mean? It's probably simmered down quite a bit, you know.
I'm disappointed on your behalf.
Yeah. But also, even like those types of bit in that, you know, it builds togetherness and stuff, do you know what I mean? And I think, you know, the more closer you are as a team, with your pals around you, and that, the better you can do throughout a whole season.
This podcast just basically turns me into living vicariously through footballers. So when I feel that you're not getting the experience that you might have got 15 years ago, I feel sat on your heart. Even if you didn't want that experience, I'm just like, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
That's just one of these things that happens. For you as well, when you come to somewhere like this and you're around those new players, even this season, seasons before, is it one of those, can it be, and I'm not saying it is this time round, one of those sink or swim moments for the new people coming in? Because ultimately, you are thrust into this group of people. Anyone listening to this starting a new job, just imagine that first week being somewhere completely different. It's a big thing, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And, I think we have a good group here that helps players and staff and stuff settle in, quite quickly, because I feel there's a lot of good people in that here. It's only improved in that as well under the gaffer. But yeah, I think, it can always be different depending on what club you go and stuff, the settling in period and stuff, because at the end of the day, there's competition coming in the building and that for places and those types of things, but it just brings more out of everybody.
Is initiation still a thing?
It's still a thing, but it's slowly heading out. It's slowly heading out because
game's gone.
Back in the day and stuff, it used to be like, all right, your first time in the building, maybe your first trip away or first away game, you're singing directly. It's starting to slowly peter out that.
How do you feel about that?
It's a bit disappointing. Because I feel like on my behalf, I've been obviously quite a few clubs and that, so I feel like I've got a catalogue of songs that I've done. Do you know what I mean? So probably a little bit bitter, but I think it's slowly heading out. I think, you know what I mean. Some of the lads, they don't want to really hear the songs, and just because there's been like a few players that have been really nervous and thinking,
that's life then.
Yeah, it is. I know. I agree with you. You know what I mean? It's heading out slowly, but it's still there a little bit.
It feels like it could be a PFA issue. Is it something you want me to really push over at the top level?
Yeah, maybe just make sure you note it down.
Yeah. What initiations have you done? Is it mainly what songs do you do?
So I've done quite a few. Yeah, it was a long time ago in that as well. Now.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to sing them. What kind of songs do you do?
Mainly R&B songs. Yeah, it's kind of, I think, my
Too broad, Lewis. Give me some specific.
Yeah, no, I think like quite a lot of R&B songs, because I feel like my catalogue of R&B songs goes. Yeah, it's quite good.
You're not naming names though, Lewis.
No, I'm not naming names. Not naming names. Yeah, you just have to see me DJing or whatever.
Do you DJ?
Not DJing, like picking the song.
Okay,
you know what I mean? A little reference for my kind of music.
Who do you find yourself hanging around with most on these kind of trips?
Right now, Piero, he's my roommate.
Oh, right, okay.
So got to put up with him for a week. So yeah, he's he's top. He's top. He's on the pitch and off the pitch. He's two different people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And off the pitch, honestly, he's a great lad and that.
I feel that the ones and the players that I've spoken to in a podcast, I don't feel that we're best mates, but I feel like I know them well enough to have an opinion. And with Ben in particular, because obviously he was the last podcast that came out as a full-length podcast, I feel like I know him well enough to know that he looks like the kind of person that might moan about the heat.
No, he moans about everything. Yeah, he moans about everything. And to be fair, with him as well, though, even though he'd have a whinge up about whatever it is, he'll say, "You're probably right." Do you know what I mean? He knows the kind of differences. But yeah, honestly, he's great. He's great to have around, as a roommate, but also, in the team, he's so important to us, because what he brings in that on the pitch.
He looks like he'd moan about stuff, but mainly to make you laugh. It doesn't look like there's any malice behind it. He'd be like, "Oh, this is too hot," just to mainly get a rise out.
I don't know, because he'll say some stuff, but there's a bit of seriousness about it. Like, you are kind of right, but there's a 20% maybe he's being serious about this, whatever he's talking about.
He doesn't look like he'd have any bad habits.
No, to be fair, he's been a great roomie. Yeah, he's been a great roomie. It was the first time we pallied up and that as well, so no, he's been great.
You must have had some decent roommates over the time, though.
To be fair, can't remember the last time we had a roommate, to be fair. It's been like that long, to be fair. I think because obviously the trip that we're on now, we've had to room up. So, but yeah, I can't really remember the last time I worked.
How is it decided who you're sharing with?
I don't know. Someone decides either from.
So it's just like literally you get told, right, you're with Ben.
Yeah, someone who's organising the trip will probably say, to the captain or whatever, who's kind of together and stuff like that most of the times, or who gets on well, and that would be Chipper, who wouldn't mind sharing the room with someone. You know what I mean?
I think that's dead interesting because again, as a football fan, in your head you're thinking, I've played Football Manager, I know how these things work.
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, I wonder, you must bring in together two different dynamics that, even though you know each other and your mates and stuff like that, sharing a room with someone for a week is a complete different thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But we're lucky, to be fair. We've got kind of living space, so we're not directly like next to each other.
It's not top and tail situation.
Yeah, no. So I can't tell you if he snores or not because we don't. We're not that close in the room.
I was speaking to a former Stoke player, Danny Collins, a little bit earlier on, and he said that he once shared on a pre-season trip with someone who had a really bad problem with sleepwalking. So at least you haven't got to deal with that, unless you have got to deal with that.
I don't know how I'd deal with that. What do you do in that situation? You just guide him back to bed or what?
No, he just said, I meant to do that, but I just woke him up because he was doing me head in anyway.
Yeah, good idea.
Well, when we hear about how hard pre-season training is there a certain activity when you know that that's coming up, or when you see the cones come out for that, you think, oh, no, not today?
I think that is always day one. Okay. When you got the test, either the yo-yo or any kind of kilometre test, those types of runs, I don't think ever kind of, like, lads will get them done, do you know what I mean? But there's always like that kind of butterflies in that before it, thinking, I'm going to be able to do well in this. But you do fine, do you know what I mean? So it's always the testing days that give you the butterflies, and then pre-season's going to be hard anyway, so just about getting through, staying on the training pitch as much as possible, and the mental side of it as well. All right, we need to go again now. Sometimes, most of the time, it's going to be double sessions, so it's just train, rest, recover, eat well, and go again.
Is there anyone that you really don't want to be anywhere near when it comes to that initial day? Is there someone that you know that they're just naturally fit that you just think, I do not want to be anywhere near them?
Ben Wilmot, he's a really good, he's really good running. Yeah. I still haven't asked him what he does in the off season. Probably won't tell me, but yeah, no, he's really good at the kind of testing runs. And I think as well, because you have specific positions and that on the pitch, obviously his one doesn't really.
You don't really do much.
He don't really add up in that too well to how he runs on the testing days, but you have your own kind of runs that will be easier for you and harder for someone else. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, his one as a centre back doesn't really equate to how he runs these kilometre tests, but yeah, no, he's a really good runner.
You're one of those players as well. You've got it all up here. You don't need to be running around like that.
Yeah, I try.
Let him go and do it. Your game's in those first few touches.
Yeah.
You don't need to have to do that.
Yeah, I try to think as quick as I can. Yeah.
Is it a case of when you see, like when you're going out, because it feels to me a bit like a school trip, and when you go out and there'll be certain people where you go, oh, my mates are over there, I'll go towards there. On that first day, is it see where Ben goes, let him walk out first, and then just get to the other side?
No, I think.
You can say yes.
Yeah. No, I think it's one of those ones where like. You're just, everything's solo in that now, do you know what I mean? You're just doing what you can on that day, and it's just about just give your maximum, do you know what I mean? Whatever your maximum is, what that looks like. It's just doing the best of your capabilities, and then from there, the SSE coaches and the sports science and stuff can just help in whatever way they need to progress whatever player.
This podcast is not about serious answers, look.
Yeah, I know. So maybe it's just a bit of a...
I don't know. You've listened to this as well.
Yeah,
you've listened to this. Habit. You know I don't want that.
Yeah.
There's quite a few on this specific trip that we're recording this in the summer of 2015, and we're in Spain. There are quite a few younger lads knocking around. What are they like having around the group? Is it, obviously, I'm not in any way saying that you are old, but you are older than the players, the 17, 18, 19-year-olds that are coming through. What's it like having them in the group? And do you feel like sometimes you have to put your arm around?
Yeah, no, it's a bit of both in that as well, because at the same time they keep the energy in that as well when it's like the tough days and stuff, you know, maybe some of us senior ones and that, right, that's like, go get our head down and that now, do you know what I mean? Where maybe they might be in the room together playing music and that still, like, you might hear the music or whatever, but they're just enjoying their time, do you know what I mean? And yeah, and obviously when we get to the training stuff and coming against the games, you know, we're playing some good opposition and stuff, maybe could be their first time in the first team environment and that. It's just about, you know, just trying to look after them and help them, you know, enjoy the moment, you know, in playing with the first team, obviously in front of the gaffer, and just trying to help them enjoy and just go be themselves.
I'm in no way trying to paint a picture that there is a group of 17, 18, 19-year-olds in the room next to you and you and Ben Pearson are all, you know, like those old-fashioned pyjamas, like ascot, earplugs, keep it down. Like, I'm not suggesting that at all. That's not the case, is it?
No, that's not the case. It's not the case. But yeah, I think when it's time to get our rest, we get our rest for sure.
You know what? This again is quite a specific question, but you know how when you came through, you were obviously very highly thought of. You were the hot prospect. You were playing at like Chelsea and all that kind of stuff. To now be that senior player, like you've just said there, does that take a little bit of getting your head around it all? Because you don't really appreciate who you are yourself until you see other people around you and how they interact with you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. And me and Pierre have actually had a few conversations like that. You know, we speak about, like, you know, when you go train with the first team or whatever, you're normally the first one in the box. You know what I mean? Youngest always goes in, whatever. And then 10 minutes later, you're suddenly not going in the boxes because you're not the youngest in that no more. Do you know what I mean? It's one when you take time to look back in that, it goes quick. Do you know what I mean? Obviously the day-to-days are different, but when you look back, like now, you reflect a little bit. It's like we was once that age and stuff, and you know, just ratting around the boxes, just trying to give everything in that in our first kind of sessions and stuff. So it was yeah, when you reflect like that, it does like give you like a wow, it goes quick. Do you know what I mean?
Because you and Ben would have had a similar experience, because obviously you were at Chelsea and he was at Man United, so two massive clubs. So it would be you'll have a lot more in common than you probably think of it on the face of it, I suppose. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And like, because me and Pierre are the same age, we grew up kind of playing against each other, and then we played together at England a few times. So I've kind of known Piero without knowing Piero personally. Do you know what I mean? Over the years, so yeah, no, we have quite a few conversations about that, and you know, just how kind of football goes full circle in that sometimes. You know what I mean?
He'll be loving this podcast. How many mentions he's got?
He's got quite a few in it.
He has, hasn't he? It's not about him, it's about you.
I know.
Don't do that. Has he tried to get you to invest into his property company? That is a very, again, niche reference for people that have listened to the podcast, but as you have listened to the podcast, you'll know what that's about.
Yeah, he hasn't spoke too much about that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? He keeps I think he keep those kind of things and that to himself quite a bit. So no, he hasn't right now.
Okay. And just to be clear, just to finish, he hasn't forced you to listen to his podcast while you've been sharing that room. I just, again, love this idea. You've got full pyjama suit on, possibly one of the pyjama hats like Wee Willie Winky. Again, so a niche reference. Yeah. And Ben's just like, just rewind that podcast. Let's have a listen to it again. That's not how Ben does it.
It's not happened. No, it's not happened.
Might happen tonight.
But yeah, no, it's not happened. I don't think like he probably wouldn't want to hear his own voice and that over again. Do you know what I mean? But yeah.
Thank you very much for coming on the podcast.
No, I appreciate it.
Obviously, you'll know that we do another one, which is a long one. This is obviously a pre-season special where we talk more about life and careers and stuff like that. It'd be a pleasure to have you on soon.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you, mate.
Appreciate
Enjoy the rest of it.
Nice one. Thank you.